Hey everybody, it's GombaDex, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we have my very first War of the Spark Premier Draft. War of the Spark is a pretty insane set. Every single booster pack has a Planeswalker in it, and the general power level of the cards in the set are just through the roof. Obviously, with a bunch of Planeswalkers in the set, you're going to have a lot of powerful cards, but they've even just buffed up the power level of a lot of the commons and uncommons to kind of help with that as well, just have good removal for them and everything like that. So really bomb heavy format, very kind of random between if you open something really good or something really bad, pretty bomb heavy stuff. So pretty controversial format for that reason. Some people love it, some people hate it, but that all out of the way, let's just get into this draft. We're going to pick one, pack one, a very powerful rare, Storev, Defcar, and Lich. 1, 2 black and a green for a 5/4 trample, already a great rate for the power toughness for the mana cost, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you get to return a creature or planeswalker in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. So a creature or planeswalker in your graveyard that's been dead for a while. So pretty powerful card. And I think to follow that up, I will take a Paradise Druid here. This just helps a lot with mana fixing for restrictive mana costs like Storev's, obviously requiring double black and a green. That's a very restrictive cost for a 4-mana card. So Paradise Druid helps a lot with that, as well as letting you splash things in. Anything that can help you splash is very powerful in this format, just because you never know what you're going to open. You could always open a just bonkers rare or mythic. So we'll go with Paradise Druid to follow up Storev. Ooh, Ashiok. Ashiok is pretty absurd in limited generally, because this can potentially mill 20 cards from your opponent's library, and in limited everybody only has 40 card libraries, so that's half of somebody's deck. You can also play this in just black because it is a hybrid mana cost. You can spend 2 black and 1 for this, so it can go well even if we end up in just green-black. So I think Ashiok is a very solid pick here. Other than that, in green-black we just see Giant Growth and Lazotep Behemoth. Nothing that great. Maybe we'd even be looking towards Mana Geode for another great card to help splash things in and help with restrictive mana costs like Storev's. So Ashiok Dream Render, definitely the pick out of this pack. Are the ingredients of the perfect meal. I have no idea what Ashiok just said, but I'm terrified. That is for sure. So here we have Dreadhorde Butcher as the rare out of this pack. Not really a splash-worthy rare, so not something we're looking towards. Even if we're in Jund, this card is only really good when you play it early in the game with that haste, get those counters on quickly. You draw it late game and your opponent has creatures that are too big for this to get in. Tibalt as well, not the craziest thing to splash, it's just 2 1/1 devils, potentially over time, maybe more if you're proliferating. So I think I am taking a green card here, and I'm probably going to take Pollenbright Druid. Proliferating is pretty powerful in this set. There are some +1/+1 counter themes, as you can see by the fact that this creates +1/+1 counters, and also with Planeswalkers you can proliferate the loyalty counters on them, so you can put your Ashiok that's at 1 counter left, you can put it back up to 2, so you can still mill your opponent 2 more times. So proliferate, a very strong mechanic in this set. There's also a mechanic called Amass that creates 0/0 zombie tokens that get a number of +1/+1 counters, so proliferate also works quite well with those. So what do we have here? We have Bond of Flourishing, which is just a solid kind of draw spell. Look at the top 3, reveal a permanent, put it into your hand, and gain 3. So it's good if your deck is a bunch of permanents, and ours is right now. Obviously with a bunch of instants and sorceries, it's not so great. Herald of the Dreadhorde is just a really solid creature though, 4 mana for a 3/2 that also replaces itself with a 2/2. I think I'm going to take Herald over the Bond of Flourishing, just because Herald's going to be pretty good in any deck, whereas Bond of Flourishing would be great in a deck with very few instants and sorceries, but we don't know for sure that we'll end up in that. Here I do like Kiora, the Behemoth Beckoner. 3 mana for a 7 loyalty planeswalker. Draw a card when a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, and you can use her to untap a permanent, so she helps ramp into your high mana stuff. So we can try to be some sort of green-based ramp deck here. We have a Paradise Druid already, and we'll have a Kiora to help ramp up, and we can just start taking a bunch of creatures with like power 4 or greater pretty highly. So I do think Kiora is another powerful planeswalker, and another card that combos well with Storev, because if she ever dies, we can just bring her right back. So Tithe Bearer Giant seems very great here for what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to these high mana costs. This is a 6 mana 4/5. It also draws a card and loses life when it comes into play, so it combos very well with Kiora. However, there's also Toll of the Invasion, which is just a great card, period. Doesn't necessarily combo the greatest with what we're doing, but it's very powerful. You get to look at your opponent's hand, make them discard a card and amass one. In a bomb-heavy format, cards like this are incredible because you can just get rid of like their best bomb and create a token. I guess I am going to go with Toll of the Invasion here. It does still combo with the proliferate kind of stuff we might be doing with Pollen Bright Druid and other stuff to go with our planeswalkers, but it is just a really good card. Here I'll take a Crunch Wrangler. 2 mana for a 2/1 trample, gets a +1/+1 counter whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters your battlefield. So another card that combos well with power 4 or greater themes with Kiora, combos well with proliferate themes with stuff like Pollen Bright Druid. And I'm definitely feeling like black is relatively open here. Seeing another Toll of the Invasion is great. There's a Mana Geode again for ramp, but Toll of the Invasion just a solid card. Now we have Forced Landing to get rid of a flyer, or Banehound, just a 1/1 lifelinker. Neither of these are really good. Totally lost maybe like splashing that in, but this is just a green card, this is just a black card. We're just Golgari here. I don't know, we probably don't want to play Banehound, but I'll take it for now. Here I might take Mana Geode. I guess Lazotep Behemoth is fine filler if you need the big creatures, and we kind of do with Kiora. Need some big creatures. Yeah, I'll take a Behemoth over the Geode. Ceratok, another creature with power 4 or greater for Kiora and the Crunch Wrangler. And Primordial Worm yet again. Price of Betrayal is not as terrible as it looks, because you can kill a planeswalker with it, but it is still generally pretty sideboard material, not stuff you take that early. Now, Massacre Girl. Wow, we've opened a very bomby rare in our colors, but a lot of the rares in the set are bomby. We're going to be in some very swingy games, that is for sure. 5 mana for a 4/4 Menace. When she enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and whenever a creature dies, you do it again. So if there's a 1 toughness creature on the board, bam, all the 1 toughness and 2 toughness creatures die. And if there were any 2 toughness creatures, then bam, now the 3 toughness stuff stops dying. This can pretty often just wipe the board of everything except Massacre Girl, so it's often just a one-sided wrath because you clear the board and keep a 4/4 Menace on your side. So very solid card. Other great cards in here: Lazotep Reaver's pretty solid, 2 mana for a 1/2 and get a 1/1 token. Pollen Bright Druid again for the proliferate. Storm the Citadel. What does this even do? I don't even remember. Doesn't seem that great. Ooh. And the pack just kind of shoved a very nice card just immediately right into our hands here. Death Sprout. Very solid removal spell. 4 mana to destroy a creature. Search your library for a basic, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So really good card. You destroy one of your opponent's cards and help ramp up into big stuff like our double Primordial Worm. Kind of what we're trying to do here. Death Sprout seems great. If Death Sprout were not in this pack, there's Spark Harvest, which is great removal at common, destroying a creature or planeswalker. Bloom Hulk, a great proliferate card, and really nice to follow up Kiora. Turn 3 Kiora into turn 4 Bloom Hulk is absurd. And then there's like Tameo, which we could try to splash in. She does give you a lot of value by returning things from the grave multiple times, but definitely not super duper exciting there. I will take Death Sprout. I would really love to wheel stuff like a Bloom Hulk, but I don't know how likely that is. Here I'll take a Challenger Troll, I think, just another big old creature, 5 mana for a 6/5, helps with the power 4 or greater theme by making it so your opponent cannot double block them. Other good cards for us in here would be like Spark Reaper. just because it is solid for its mana cost. 3 mana, 2/3 that gives you a decent sacrifice outlet, gain a life, and draw a card whenever one of your smaller creatures becomes irrelevant, like the 1/1 tokens we get out of Toll of the Invasion are great to sacrifice for this. Pollen Bright Druid's great to sacrifice for this. Banehound, we're probably not playing Banehound though. Courage and Crisis can be really great on curve too, but kind of depends on how your curve is in your deck, how well it goes. Let's see what we've got here. Another Thundering Ceratok, another Primordial Worm, a Shriek Diver, or Lazatep Behemoth if we're taking a green or black card. We could take like Tamiyo's Epiphany, try to splash that in. We really only have Paradise Druid and Death Sprout for grabbing off-color mana, and I don't think it's super necessary. Like, our stuff just in green and black is plenty powerful. I think I'll just take a Thundering Ceratok, just try to stay in just Golgari here, and yeah, we'll get rewarded for it, get another Death Sprout. That is going to be fantastic. Although we would like a Bloom Hulk. Hopefully we can get those later. I don't think we can get Death Sprouts too often later. Lazatep Reaver, Bloom Hulk, Courage and Crisis, Pollen Bright Druid. Things are looking wide open and really nice for Golgari here. So I'm not playing Banehound. I do kind of already have a lot of high mana cost stuff. I kind of need to sort my curve by just what I'm playing on that turn. Yeah, so we've just got Death Sprouts that we're playing later, so this is kind of the curve. Yeah, I kind of do like Bloom Hulk. Lazatep Reaver is a really solid card, but I think Bloom Hulk is just going to work better in this deck. We have some +1/+1 counter stuff. We have multiple Planeswalkers. This also triggers the draw off of Kiora, which is great. I just think that Bloom Hulk's really what we're looking for. It also combos very, very well with Kron Stranglers. If you play a Bloom Hulk when you have Kron Strangler out, Kron Strangler gets a +1/+1 counter, and then Bloom Hulk gives it another one. So Kron Strangler is going to be the pick here, again, because of how well it combos with our Bloom Hulk and Kiora kind of strategy. And here we're just kind of taking some nonsense. We can take a Snare Spinner to block flyers. We can take a Charity Extractor to try to slow down really aggressive decks, but we already have just a decent amount of cheap stuff for either of those. So I guess I'll just take Snare Spinner, but not super excited to try to play that or anything. New Horizons might be okay here. It can help us splash off-color stuff if we open some crazy off-color bomb. And it helps ramp into our big stuff like Primordial Worms if we really want to. I don't think this is really a giant growth deck, but that is a solid card. We already have a Snare Spinner I'm not really looking to play. Alright, another Thundering Ceratok it is. Just have a real high curve this deck. Not playing any of these. I'm not even going to splash any of them in. Just throw it in the sideboard. Shriek Diver, it's possible we'll play. Just have a little bit of flying in here. Alright, let's see what we open up in our final pack. Oh my god. Dreadhorde Invasion. 2 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass 1. So you create a 1/1 zombie army, and then next turn it gets bigger, and then next turn it gets bigger. If you have any sacrifice outlets, this card is great, because you can just keep sacrificing them as 1/1s. Really, really solid card. There's also a Spark Harvest, which would be beautiful, but we do already have 2 Death Sprouts. I don't think Spark Harvest is likely to wheel, but it's much more likely to wheel than Dreadhorde Invasion. This is just a pretty bomby rare. Go with a Dreadhorde Invasion here. I think we'd love Paradise Druid out of here would be great. Davriel would be solid. It's just an annoying discard spell. Spark Harvest would be great. Reaver would be great. Pollen Bright Druid would be great. Just a great pack all around. See what we can get in our next pick. We're at a 26 card deck here, so we do need to start cutting stuff. My curve is really high, so I'm probably cutting some of these Ceratoks. We've already got... Actually, I'd rather cut Behemoths than Ceratoks, I think. I was going to say, we already got a lot at our high mana costs. But we are kind of ramping, so we do want a decent amount of them. Ooh, Evolution Sage is pretty great with Planeswalkers, with +1/+1 counters, so Evolution Sage feels great here. It's between Evolution Sage and Davriel, I think, which is a pretty hard pick, because they're... Davriel... I don't know, Davriel making our opponent discard 3 cards minimum is pretty great. It does it slowly though, so if your opponent can attack into it, it's a problem. We do have a lot of cheap creatures to help block for that. I don't know, I feel like I have a decent amount of +1/+1 counter Planeswalker stuff to just have a lot of fun with Evolution Sage. I guess I don't actually have that much +1 counter stuff. It's really just the amass tokens and the Planeswalkers that the Sage combos well with. We're definitely not wheeling either of those though. Here I like Paradise Druid a lot. I also like Toll of the Invasion, but we do already have 2 of those. I feel I am looking for Paradise Druids. Centaur Nurturer is nice as well. A little bit expensive, but you gain life when you play it, so it helps get you back into the game, and it's a big blocker that also helps you ramp into your like 6 mana cards like Primordial Worm. I think I am just going to go with Paradise Druid though. Just the cheaper your mana dorks are, the more they're going to help out. Because then even if you're stuck on mana, they'll help you get to the higher mana costs. Well, I do like me a Kaya, Bane of the Dead. 6 mana for a 7 loyalty Planeswalker. At -3 you get to exile a creature, and it just shuts off hexproof on all of your opponent's cards. So she's really nice at just getting rid of problems. And obviously in green-black we can cast her off of just triple black. A little bit of a difficult mana cost. There's going to be times where we're screwed out of that mana, but we have Kiora to untap whichever color we need. We have 2 Paradise Druids to tap for whatever color we need, 2 Death Sprouts to search for mana. So I think we have a really good mana base for casting a Kaya. Like another Bloomhulk here a lot. The cheaper the power 4 creatures are, the better for cards like Crunch Wrangler and Kiora. And Bloomhulk's about as cheap as they can get. And it also helps with the Planeswalkers that we have. So pretty solid card, definitely Bloomhulk here, I think. We could maybe take a Bond of Revival. That'd be cute. Little Reanimator spell. We don't have any, like, stuff that makes us mill ourselves or discard from our own hand, so we don't have any, like, combos with it. Wow, we're gonna get triple Death Sprout here. Kinda living the dream. Centaur Nurture would be fine as well. I think that's about it. Now, what do we have? Arboreal Grazer could ramp us up, but it does just put a land we already have from in our hand into play. Or a Duskmantle Operative. I don't really want to play either of these. I guess I'll take a Grazer. Probably not playing it. Arlen's Wolf seems like the best creature here. Charity Extractor is just not great. Just kind of slows down super fast decks, and we already got a lot for that. It doesn't slow them down until turn 4 anyway. Yeah, I'll just take a Wolf. Wield a Lazotep Reaver, that's pretty nice. Probably will actually play that for the kind of amass +1/+1 counter themes we have going on. I don't think I'm playing Vampire Opportunist. We've got a lot going on at 2 mana now. I will actually definitely play a Centaur Nurture. I'll play that over a Silverwing, I think. Definitely need to cut a lot of cards here, but it looks like we've got a real solid Golgari deck going for us here. Just what you want in the format. Lots of bombs and a decent amount of removal. All right. This is actually seeming like maybe not an Ashiok deck. I guess any deck can be an Ashiok deck because you mill half your opponent's library. The game doesn't need to go on that long to mill somebody out with Ashiok. And with Proliferate, you can mill even more, which is pretty insane. I think I'm actually just not going to play New Horizons because we don't really need to splash anything in. It does help with difficult mana costs like Kaya, Death Sprout. But I think we already have double Paradise Druid and Centaur Nurturer helping out on that front. Do want to have as many creatures as possible for stuff like Storev. 7 cards to cut here. This is a pretty high power format. Pretty high variance format, and that is the word I was looking for at the very beginning of this draft. But yeah, since it's high power, high variance, all of that, you are going to end up with decks with just tons of great cards when you get to cutting stuff out. 20 creatures. I think we're definitely cutting some more creatures right now. I think I kind of want to just focus in really on the power 4 greater theme with two Crunch Wranglers and a Kiora. We kind of have two Toll of the Invasions as more creatures, Dreadhorde Invasion as more creatures. So I'm kind of looking to just cut all of our creatures that just don't have great combos with the power 4 or greater theme. Like, we don't actually have only 3 creatures at 3 mana right now. We have 3 and 2 Toll of the Invasion, so we have 5 creatures at 3 mana. So I think we can, like, cut one of these two, Arlen's Wolf or Shriek Diver. We don't have a lot of flying going on, but we do have triple Death Sprout to kill our opponent's flying creatures, and Kaya as well. Don't really have any reach. I did cut the 1 reach card. I guess I'll cut the Wolf over the Shriek Diver. And cut a Herald. Cut 4 more cards. I think I am cutting Ashiok. 3 more to go. We have 3 Death Sprouts ramping us up. 2 Paradise Druids. I guess I can cut a Centaur Nurturer. And we're still doing fine on the ramp for the 5s and 6s. And then 2 more last cuts. Am I cutting Lazotep Reaver? The card just seems so solid for its cost, even though it doesn't do anything crazy with this deck. I guess it gets a token out for us to start, like, proliferating onto. I'm actually going to cut the Shriek Diver, so if we end up dying to, like, 2 Toughness Flyers a lot, then that was our fault. We had a 2-power Flyer to play in here. 1 final cut to go. Dreadhorde Invasion is generally a really powerful card, but it's at its best when you have a lot of stuff to combo with it, and we just don't. The only way we can really combo with this is by proliferating a bit onto the creature to make it bigger faster. We don't have anything to help us, like, sacrifice tokens to do anything fancy. So it's not, like, incredible in our deck, but I think it's still powerful enough that we probably shouldn't cut it. It is a horrible draw in the late game for our deck. Because of the fact that it deals the damage to us every time we do it, we really have to be in the aggressive for this to be good for us. I'm actually going to cut Dreadhorde Invasion. I don't know, I can foresee a lot of positions that we're in where Dreadhorde Invasion will just be really bad for us because we don't have any life gain, any way to sacrifice the tokens to get value. Dreadhorde Invasion's, like, one of the reasons it's so good is because black generally has a lot of ways to combo with it, even at common. Spark Harvest to sacrifice a 1/1 and destroy something. Spark Reaper being the more important one, the most important way to combo with Dreadhorde Invasion at common. Sacrifice a creature and gain a life, so you know you're not dying to it. And draw a card. That is, like, really good. There's, like, Soul Diviner to remove a counter, draw a card. All that kind of stuff. That one's a rare, though. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I am cutting a Dreadhorde Invasion here. I guess we have some Amass to go with it as well, so we could just be consistently trying to hit that 6 power for the lifelink. Or just getting in an aggressive position, but it seems like a very, very bad draw late game. Because it'll just make some 1/1s and kill us. I don't know. Let's see how our mana's looking. We have 18 green symbols and 9 black symbols among our permanents. So yeah, that looks like a 9-8 split to me. We do need triple black for Kaya, double black for Storev, double black for Death Sprout. Yeah, I think we do still need, like, 8 swamps then. Alright. Let's do our white, blue, black, green Golgari deck because of hybrid costs. Kiora being blue-green and Kaya being white-black. Alright, we got the ramp going here. Let's keep this. Turn 2 Paradise Druid into turn 3 Storev. Or if our opponent plays something really scary, turn 3 Death Sprout instead, which gives us the mana to play Kaya really early. Another Death Sprout in hand. I want our opponent so badly to just have the God Hand of, like, really scary bomb creatures starting on turn 2 somehow. So we can just kill them all. And ramp into a Kaya. Like, that would be so brutal. That being said, it looks like we're just casting a turn 3 Storev. Turn 3 5/4 Trample will have to do for now. If we hit a land, we get to play Ceratok next turn. If we don't, we're probably Death Sprouting any mediocre creature to hit our next land. And Spellgorger Weird is actually relatively solid. This can get bigger pretty quickly in this format. Every deck is going to be playing some Planeswalkers usually, and probably instant sorcery-based removal. Just other things to combo with it. So I think I will Death Sprout it. I'm going to wait till their turn, because they might commit something to this. They might cast a spell that like proliferates or something to try to make it bigger. Ooh, no, they're going to make Death Touchers with Vraska. Super annoying card. Gets you 2 Death Touchers off of this one thing, so with Storev, Storev will trample over and kill Vraska, but is going to die to a 1/1. Yeah, we're going to Death Sprout the Spellgorger Weird here. I guess I could Death Sprout their Death Toucher, and then Storev gets to kill Vraska? Storev gets to do at least 1 damage to Vraska. Seems... Ooh, if they attack with Spellgorger... Oh yeah, we're just going to Death Sprout the Death Toucher then and kill Vraska so we can deal with that threat right away, because Death Touchers are really good against our deck, being a bunch of really big creatures. Definitely grabbing a Swamp to help cast Kaya. Now we have Kaya mana, but we also can just Ceratok. Keep Paradise Druid untapped so it still has Hexproof and it can block stuff. Just eliminate Vraska right there.
I guess today's your lucky day.
Pollen Bright Druid. We'll make Spellgorger Weird a 4/4 now. We do have another Death Sprout. We have a Kaya that kills 2 things. This is just gonna be a great time for our deck. They have no blue mana up, so I'll just cast Kaya and get rid of Weird that way. And then Kaya's also just another removal spell. Kaya's pretty absurd, 2 removal spells in 1. Yeah, there's the concession. We just did some crazy powerful bomby stuff that game. And that is a lot of how War of the Spark goes. Very swingy games with incredibly powerful plays. Head on into round 2 here. 4-color Golgari. It's just Golgari, but I just like how Arena shows off the hybrid costs as if they're part of your mana base. It's like, yeah, you're white, blue, black, green. Depending on what we draw here is going to depend on what we want to play this turn. I think I'm just going to play Reaver. Because if we draw a power 4 or greater creature, it will be 4 mana, so we can just play Crunch Wrangler turn 3 here. Cruel Celebrant, that is a 1/2. We've drawn into a Death Sprout. Definitely want to play another black for that. Can attack a 1/2 into their 1/2. I can Pollen Bright Druid and either make Reaver a 2/3 or my zombie army a 2/2. I think a 2/3 would attack better generally, and if we draw more Proliferate later, that gives us more targets. So I'm going to go ahead and make Reaver a 2/3 and just attack into that. Cruel Celebrant is going to drain us 1 life whenever one of their creatures or planeswalkers dies. We are against white-black here. Orzhov. Another Cruel Celebrant. Alright, well now they're double draining us. That's a little scary. Got another Crunch Wrangler. No power 4 or greater creatures to follow it up. I think I just hold on to Death Sprout here then. They can double block and they have 2 power, so a 2/3 does still get in on this board. That also makes me feel good about where I put the +1/+1 counter. If we just had a 1/1, or I'm sorry, if we just had a 2/2 here, it wouldn't attack well into 2 1/2s. They could double block and trade a 1/2 into our 2/2. You know, I guess 2/1s do just straight up trade for the Celebrant's worst case scenario. If our opponent has like a board wipe, that'll be bad for us, like a Massacre Girl kind of card. Otherwise, though, it is probably good to get aggressive. We can kill whatever creature they play this turn if they just play one big creature. And then we can attack into Cruel Celebrants well with a couple 2/1s and a 2/3. Obviously, like a best case scenario, we draw Bloom Hulk and then we're living the dream. If we draw Bloom Hulk, all of a sudden we have a 3/4, a 2/2, 2/4/3 tramples. Bloom Hulk would be absolutely busted on this board. Makeshift Battalion is the play for our opponent, just a 3/2. I think attacking into that still works well for all these just 2-power creatures. We are definitely still holding out for a hero out of our draws. You know, I actually probably have enough power 4 greater creatures that maybe this is the point where we just hold off. Because these Wranglers can definitely be more valuable than just a 2/1. They can do it soon. That being said, their creatures are all pretty valuable as well. Except for Makeshift Battalion, these Celebrants are pretty important. Yeah, I think we're just going to offer the trades and see what happens. Just the 2/3 for 3/2. Alright. It's definitely fine by me. Opponent has 5 mana now, and they drop down a Trusted Pegasus, 2/2 flyer that gives another creature flying whenever it attacks. Flyer's annoying, but I think still not worth Death Sprouting because they don't have anything big. And we can just trade with a Wrangler. I guess Death Sprouting also does get another land out of our deck. Just go to my turn here, I think. Challenger Troll is going to get some counters on our Wranglers, which is good. That means they only trade for a Pegasus. And then we have a big threat, big old 6/5 threat. Yeah, let's go for it. We are going to trade a Wrangler for the Pegasus, get drained to some life by the Celebrants again, but then we just start slamming with a Challenger Troll. We could have held on to that land if we're scared that our opponent has Davriel, which makes us discard 1 card. But generally, the most prominent discard spell in the format is Toll of the Invasion, where they get to choose what I discard anyway. So holding a land in your hand doesn't stop your opponent from Toll of the Invasioning you. There's Bloom Hulk. Unfortunately, one of our Wranglers is already dead, but it is still going to be good with the second one. Push that up to 4 toughness. They have 4 power on their field. They have to block with everything. This will be 5 power. Yeah, I kill their whole field if they try to kill this Crunch Wrangler. And I got a 2/2 now. Bloom Hulk still a very solid draw at that point. Getting drained for 2 by the Cruel Celebrants again, but we've got a 4/4 and a 5/4 now, so hopefully we can push through. We are down to 14 though. They're trying to drain us out. Definitely gonna Death Sprout that thing, then they don't have good blocks for either of these. We do get drained for 2 yet again. Cruel Celebrants certainly putting in work here. They can go to 1 life if they don't want to lose a Celebrant. Alright, well that was unfortunately the wrong block for our opponent. They did not notice the trample on Crunch Wrangler, so they would have stopped more damage just blocking Bloom Hulk. So that is unfortunate. They should be at 2 more life than they're at right now. Enforcer Griffin. 3/4 flyer, but they're down to 5 life, so they have to block. Massacre Girl's the draw. If I play Massacre Girl, I kill that, which means -2/-2, which means I kill that. Everything gets -2/-2, so I have a 3/2 and a 2/2. They have a 1/2. I think I just attack in. You know what? If I play Massacre Girl, the only creature I lose is Pollen Bright Druid. So I trade Pollen Bright for Cruel Celebrant. Oh yeah, it buffs Cron Strangler too because it's got power 4 or greater. Alright, I misdid the math. Oh wait, oh no. Oh no, I forgot the Massacre Girl keeps going for the rest of the turn, so now I lose Bloomhulk, which means I lose Cron Strangler as well, so I just have nothing but Massacre Girl. This card is so complex. But yeah, I forgot that it keeps going. So I put them to 3, but now I lose all my creatures. So I should have just not attacked if I was playing Massacre Girl there. That's rough. That means if they have a removal spell, they can actually win this game now. Massacre Girl, why you gotta be so weird? It's such a, it's an enter the battlefield effect, so it always feels like it just all goes off at once, but it keeps going. It's a persistent effect through the rest of the turn. Such a confusing card. Luckily for us, all our opponent has is a Bolas' Citadel, so Massacre Girl will get there, but it was definitely incorrect to attack after playing Massacre Girl. We either should have just attacked and then passed, or just played Massacre Girl to get the additional counter and then just passed her. That almost blew up really badly in our faces. That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So Bolas' Citadel, that's a big old 6-mana artifact. It lets you start playing things from the top of your library if you pay life equal to their mana cost. But you can still only play 1 land per turn, so they probably just had 2 lands on top and that's what stopped them, or they were at a low enough life total to where they hit a 4 or 5 mana card, only had 3 life. So that was what was going on at the end of our opponent's turn there. Alright, Lazotep Reaver, Toll of the Invasion, and Pollen Bright Druid here, definitely keepable. Definitely hoping to draw more stuff to play around with. Death Sprout, a great start to that. We've got a really interactive hand to try to stop what our opponent's doing, especially since we drew Death Sprout. Got some nice chump blockers. We get to look at our opponent's hand. Now we get to start proliferating whenever we play a land. Try to make a really big zombie army. I think I play Toll the Invasion turn 3 and Evolution Sage turn 4, because Evolution Sage doesn't start proliferating until you play lands, and obviously if I play this as my turn 3 card, I'm not playing a land right after I play it. Rather Toll our opponent, see what's going on in there. They have Mizium Tank, Cruise 1 to become a 3/2, and it gets +1/+1 till end of turn whenever they cast a non-creature spell. Burning Prophet and Turret Ogre. They need another red for the Mizium Tank. I think I'm actually just taking Callous Dismissal, because Callous Dismissal right now is going to kill our 2/2 and give them a 1/1. Callous Dismissal just seems really good. It also lets them scry 2 off these Burning Prophets. Kind of weird, but I think Callous Dismissal is just their best card on the current board. It would be close if they had the second red immediately, but the fact that they have to wait on this Mizium Tank for potentially a turn or 2 makes me think that this is generally just going to be worse. It's also only a 3/2 by itself. Oh yeah, they're just going to discard it to the Honor the God Pharaoh to draw more. Attack with those as 2/3s. They only kill one of our creatures. I guess they do kill the zombie army, which is bad for us when we're trying to amass. So I could double block to kill a Burning Prophet, but then losing my zombie army is actually a big deal because of my proliferate effects. Another Death Sprout? I don't think I need to use it yet, so I'm just going to Evolution Sage proliferate. Now we have a 3/3. And I think we're just vibing, just hanging out. Also, I need another black mana for Death Sprout. So we can't even cast Death Sprout right now, even if we wanted to. Probably going to play Pollen Bright Druid to put a +1/+1 counter on something else to proliferate more. Well, that's unfortunate. Rel's Outburst is pretty perfect right now. Kill our 3/3 before it becomes a 4/4, and draw more cards, and they scry 2 off the Burning Prophets. Burning Prophet is such a solid enabler for these kind of decks, because you get to scry every time you're casting anything. If you're casting draw spells off of them, you're just going off. Evolution Stage is actually just not great anymore, now that we don't have anything to proliferate onto. I guess with Pollen Bright Druid we would... Oh, take 4 or lose Sage. Take 4. Another black is good here, so we can start Death Sprouting. Make that a 3/4 so it blocks a Prophet pretty easily, and then attack with just Sage, because Sage is not going to be blocking when we can make Reaper or Reaver bigger and bigger. Six mana now for our opponent. We know they have a Turret Ogre. We don't know what the other 2 cards are, so they have a 4/3 Reach available. Heartfire, sack a creature, deal 4 to something, kill Azatep Reaver. Yeah. Keep the Rube Goldberg machine going with the Burning Prophets. Just keep scrying to always hit removal. Guess it's time to Death Sprout some stupid Prophets. Down to 8 here. Ceratok is a big old good blocker though. Just play Ceratok, pass. They scried to the top though, which gets me worried. Hopefully it's just a good creature so we can just Death Sprout it, but if it's a non-creature thing, that's a problem. I should have held on to that land in case I drew something to proliferate onto. That was just an instinctual play there. Saheeli. Saheeli's a disgusting card. You get a 1/1 every time you cast a non-creature spell. So with Saheeli, your deck can literally be nothing but removal spells and draw spells, and you'll eventually just win. Because you 1-for-1 trade all your removal, but every time you're 1-for-1 trading, you're going up a creature. Saheeli's just a very good card. They have 1 card in hand here, and they're attacking into the Ceratok. So they're probably just gonna delete the Ceratok somehow. We'll make them have it. We're at 8 life, so if they have something that does enough damage to now kill Ceratok, they probably could just kill our face if we don't block here. Like a Heartfire or something. Pyrohelix would be really bad for us too. They do 6 there. Chandra's Triumph. Alright, we still trade. Yeah, we still trade on everything except 1 Burning Prophet. So we still clear a lot of their board, but again, they are just scrying all over the place. Draw a Kronshringler, which is just a 2/1. That is not very good, but we kind of need to just play it. I'm going to kill a Burning Prophet here, because we're down to 8, and that thing has just been super annoying, and we get to pull another land out of our deck, make it less likely we draw another next turn. More likely to draw a non-land spell. Hit me with a 1/1. Definitely can't really block here. Nothing yet. Our deck is not very good against the non-creature spell deck, because we are very good against creatures. That is what we are focused on. This is just a very poor matchup for us, generally. There's no possible way I can afford to just block and trade with a servo, right? I think we have to get started trying to kill Saheeli.
Do not mistake grace for weakness.
Oh, good lord, yep. Rel's Outburst, deal 3 to our face, get another servo. Opponent's definitely going off. The Dream Is It deck here for sure. We need to not draw lands at this point really badly, and we need to stop every point of damage that we can. They probably even just have another 1 damage spell here. Or, I'm sorry, 3 damage spell here to just finish us off now that we're down to 3. Oh, Erratic Visionary is not going to do it. Challenger Troll's the draw. It's pretty good here if they don't have removal. It's a big enough blocker, and it makes Wrangler a 3/2. Opponent is roping here, which is a little weird to me, because I feel if they had something, they would just cast it immediately. The only thing I could see being a response here would be like a counter spell. Maybe Pyro Helix, kill Wrangler, 1 damage to my face? I don't know, we'll see. I mean, that's just dead on board, so I don't know what took them so long on that one either. Oh, yeah, that was a incredibly brutal game. Very, very good deck from our opponent. All of the non-creature spell synergies packed into one. Devastating pile. I guess we did have another card in hand after the Challenger Troll, so they were debating whether or not they wanted to go all in on that. Because if we just played another creature and it was like beefy, then maybe the Pyrohelix would be bad, but I mean, even then, it would have been a fantastic play either way. I'm going to keep this. I need to draw another Swamp to cast Storev, but I can cast everything else in this hand. Obviously not if I draw another double black card, but I can definitely cast Bloomhulk, and if I draw any land period, I can cast Challenger Troll. So we've got a good aggressive curve with just the green cards. So we'll stick to that until we draw a Swamp. And if we do draw a Swamp, then we just have great cards all around the board. Well, this is getting a little absurd. 5 green before a single Swamp. We have literally 1 more forest than swamps in here, I think. Yep, 1 more forest than swamps, so definitely getting trolled a little bit by our deck. I can cast a Challenger Troll, or I can try to just mess with what's in their hand. I already have a 4/4 to block the Herald. I don't have great attacks with Bloomhulk anyway right now because they can double block. Challenger Troll does give me good attacks in the future, but I kind of want to make sure they don't play more flying threats and stuff like Aven Eternal. I'm just going to see what they got, see if we can't harass them a bit here. Oh my god, I'm so glad I did that, because Eternal Skylord is terrifying. 5 mana for a 3/3 that spits out a 2/2 zombie army and gives all their zombie tokens flying. Actually, this hand in general is very good. It's all flying threats too. Skylord or Thunderdrake. Both of these are really bad for me. I guess they immediately have the mana for Thunderdrake. They have to wait on Skylord, but Skylord does just put 2 counters on their current zombie army, so it's a 3/3 flyer immediately. Oh, they're both so bad for me. I'm gonna get Skylord, I guess. They could double block Bloomhulk and just turn their 2 creatures into a 2/2. I'm actually gonna go for the attack here. Just allow that, because with the amount of flyers and stuff, I'm more worried about just clearing their board as best as I can and trying to survive throughout this game. Obviously, if we hit our black mana for Storev, we can just start returning stuff like Bloomhulk, so trading our creatures early is good for us. But no, I'm very much trying to clear their board. Black mana, let's go. Death Sprout Thunderdrake. Oh dear. Well, we have a 7/6. They definitely aren't attacking on the ground. I mean, I guess Obnixilus's Cruelty. Attack in Obnixilus's Cruelty, and then I kill my Primordial Worm with that. They have a Spellkeeper Weird coming up to return Obnixilus's Cruelty. I'm trying to click on their graveyard. Yep. Obnixilus's Cruelty is the only instant or sorcery they have, so that'll be the return there. We get to kill the 2/2 even if they cruelty one of our cards here. So we'll do the double block. Otherwise, we're just losing a creature without killing anything on their board. We really need to lower their creature counts. Hopefully, really hopefully, Death Sprout this Thunder Drake soon here. Don't know if that'll be soon enough, but I can do it next turn now. Lazatep Reaver. The board is going wide, which is a big issue. If the only thing I do next turn is Death Sprout, I don't have any blockers up because I have to tap both to do it. Good lord. Alright, we have 3 mana up after this. We kill that, we just take well over 5. Yeah, this was just a brutal game. Like, we play a creature and die to the flyers, that's 5 flying damage, or we play Death Sprout and die to just creatures, period, because we don't have any blockers left. Those were some really horrible land draws there. That was very unfortunate. We have 8 swamps and 9 forests in the deck. We're running 1 more forest than swamps because we have many more green cards in our deck than black cards, and multiple of our green cards grab black mana. The double Paradise Druids we had. We even drew both Paradise Druids, but we didn't draw a single swamp that game. All it would have taken was 1 swamp earlier in the game, and I think we could have definitely contended a lot more. So, pretty unfortunate one there. I did keep a mildly risky keep, but not drawing a swamp the entire game is just very unlikely, even off of that keep. So I don't think that we got punished in a way that was, like, incredibly foreseeable or anything. We also drew multiple more double black cards, or at least 1 more, I think, than we had in the opener. Well, I'd love to kill Kranko, but I can't do that, so I guess I just play like a 5/4 and try to block it. I really want to have Cura out before I start playing my big creatures so I can draw a card every time, even Kron Strangler. So this is a little sad that I don't get to sequence as well as I'd want to, but I don't think I can let Kranko just go off. We gotta try to kill that as soon as possible. Ideally, we'd have Kiora and Kron Strangler out before we start playing Power 4 greater creatures, but just need to do anything I can to block a Kranko, otherwise they're just going to get a million goblins. This turns into a 2/3, spits out 2 goblins, then it turns into a 3/4, spits out 3 goblins. If they have removal, they'll just win here to support Kranko. Well, unless I immediately draw my removal, now I can actually kill their Kranko, but I won't have the mana up to do anything else. I do just take 2 damage from goblins, so I think this is definitely the play. I'm grabbing another swamp so that we have Kaya mana. But yeah, that is a terrifying hand to have. If you have Kranko with multiple removal spells to back it up to just clear your opponent's board, there's not much an opponent can do about that if they don't have the removal for Kranko. We got very lucky drawing the removal for it this game. This was absolutely a game that most limited decks would have just lost immediately if we didn't have removal. I think we get to play Kiora and Toll of the Invasion here. I'm definitely going to play Toll of the Invasion because I get to trade with a goblin and stop their next bomb from happening if they have another one. Yeah, Jaya's pretty bomby. They have 2 removal spells here. Wow, yeah, their hand was incredible to follow up a Kranko. Kranko was just a mad stack of removal to get things out of the way. I think we kill Jaya. Jaya's 2 removal spells in 1. I guess she only does 2 damage, but she also buffs the damage of, like, the goblins. The goblins now are 2/1s, stuff like that. Her static ability is really good. I think we gotta kill Jaya. So we get to play Kiora. It'll be 7 loyalty, or we get to play the Kron Strangler. I think we play Kiora. Pretty unlikely Kiora dies here. The only way she dies is if they throw all of their removal at her, which then she's still accomplishing plenty. Yeah, this is very aggressive. If they want to throw every removal spell they have at her, that's absolutely worth it. She's done her job of drawing us cards, or giving us card advantage, just in a different way, by just ripping the removal out of our opponent's hand so we know they don't have any left for these creatures. Yeah, that's super aggressive, but I'll take it. Play a Crunch Wrangler here. Obviously, they're going to respond with the Chandra's Triumph to kill her in response to the Ceratok, now that they know we'd be drawing a card off of it. But here's the thing, the only thing we knew we were going to accomplish with Kiora is drawing one card off of playing a Ceratok if they didn't use any removal on her, but instead, because they used all the removal on her, we got to kill a 1/1 Goblin, a Heartfire, and a Chandra's Triumph. Of course, we are just drawing more power 4 or greater creatures, so Kiora would have gone off here, but even in death, she accomplished good things for us. Now we're hoping that our big green creatures are just too much for the red deck to compete with, and that seems like what it is. Seems like mainly red over there, splashing in some black, some blue, double Guild Globe. They were definitely splashing things in if they were running Guild Globes, because they can sacrifice those for mana of any color. Definitely looked like a fun deck, my kind of deck, but we just got very, very lucky in that game drawing the Death Sprout against Krenko. That was just the play of the game, the card of the game. Everything outside of that was pretty standard, just the big green deck stabilizing with larger creatures than the red decks can even cast. They did flood out a bit too as well. So we are 3 wins in, so in our first War of the Spark draft, at least we've gone 3-3. Not a bad place to start. Just a nice average run. Would always like to do better, so I'll do as best as I can in this next round, maybe the next following rounds. This is definitely not keepable after what we saw happen with the mono green hand. That would happen even worse with this hand because we already have triple green. We have more green cards than black cards in this deck, and obviously no mana fixing in black, so we really have to mulligan that one. I would really prefer if our draft did not end this way. If we hit one land, any land, we get to cast Kiora, which means we get to cast Bloomhulk, and Bloomhulk after a Crunch Wrangler is really good. We get rid of Death Sprout, and we're hoping to draw literally any land. Any land in our whole deck, and we're set. We're set for a very good start to this game. Double black card is about as far from what I'm wanting right now as possible, because we don't have any black mana. Alright, we got 1 black mana now, so we're started on the Storev mana, and Kiora, because she can untap any permanent, can untap Swamps to cast Storev. Definitely playing a Bloomhulk before Storev, though. Turn 3 for our opponent, let's see what they got. Nothing yet. They can tap down our Wrangler so it can't attack this turn. And then they can attack into Kiora because we won't have any blockers. Ooh, Evolution Sage 2? That could be good later when we draw more lands. But for now, I think I'm just playing 4 drops. Playing Bloomhulk and then Storev. Definitely playing Bloomhulk first because it makes Wrangler a 4/3, so playing Bloomhulk is playing a 4/4 and buffing our other creature +2/+2, whereas playing Storev is just playing a 5/4 and buffing that once. We'd definitely rather go wider than bigger in this game against a Law Rune Enforcer. We want as many decently sized creatures as possible. Oath of Kaya to kill our 2/1's pretty brutal here. That makes us want to just play Storev first. Because we play Storev, we draw a card off of it. Ooh, we even hit the land for it, so I don't have to minus Kiora. I should probably still minus Kiora, because Evolution Sage can go off and help her later. No, we don't have any other +1/+1 counters right now. So we'll just play Store of. And we got just as much value as Evolution Sage probably would have got. Because Evolution Sage would just give her a counter back. So instead of using the counter right now and getting it back later, we'll just not use it right now. Pass turn here. Store of. If Store of hits our opponent, we get to return Kronshringler from our grave to hand, which is beautiful. Ravnica at War. Exile all multicolored permanents. Sure. Get a nice 2-for-1 there. Kill Store of and Cura. Pretty bomby card, but we've got plenty bomby stuff to follow up with. Kaya on turn 6. Primordial Worm turn 6. Just play our biggest creature here. Nothing to proliferate onto, which isn't great, but just get as big of a creature as possible and start attacking into our opponent. Our opponent is on 4 colors, so they're probably on them just splash all the bombs kind of deck. Enforcer Griffin, 3/4 flyer. They do trade for Bloom Hulk if I attack all. Kaya's going to go down to 3, goes down to 4 loyalty, but then they can hit her for 1 with Law Rune Enforcer and she's down to 3. I do have an Evolution Sage though. Yeah, I'm going to cast Kaya because I have an Evolution Sage to follow up with later. And now I can start attacking with Bloom Hulk. They get to put Kaya down to 3, which means that she dies next time I use her minus ability, but that's probably fine if we don't draw lands for Evolution Sage. Obviously, if we do, we get to start just making her massive. Kaya of their own?
I faced undead.
Yeah. War is a pretty silly format.
I've seen a lot of things there.
Because they have a Kaya of their own out, I'd rather just proliferate onto our Kaya, kill their 1 creature, and then pass, then cast a Primordial Worm. Because if we play a Primordial Worm, they just kill our Primordial Worm with their Kaya. Primordial Worm is definitely going to be the biggest creature on the board at the end of all this.
But they all look like a penguin to me.
Toll of the Invasion. If I cast this, I don't get to cast Primordial Worm. But, yeah, I was going to say their hand's probably terrifying. They're running Jace in a 4-color deck. Triple blue card. Our opponent is super bold over here. They only have 1 blue mana, so I'm just going to discard No Escape. Because they can use that to counter our Primordial Worm. Obviously, Kaya's going to die now, but it's so unlikely that we'll get the Proliferate to put her up to 3 anyway, so it's not that much of a bummer. And I guess if they attack Kaya with the Griffin, then we just attack their Kaya with our zombie army. So maybe they won't even... Yeah, I guess they would know how much Proliferate's in their deck, so maybe they have less Proliferate than us even. And they are just certain they won't be able to save Kaya. Alright, the top deck war has begun. A situation I never want to be in, especially against a blue deck, because they could have Tamiyo's Epiphany and stuff. However, we are doing a lot more damage to them than they are to us. We're winning the race for sure on board. Oh, if everybody... Yeah, I was going to say, if everybody just keeps drawing lands, I do win. Eventually. They're down to 4 now. I did draw a 2-1. Doesn't change things that much, but it's better than just lands. Which seems like our opponent's draws here. Mana Geode. They get to scry 1, and they're only 1 blue away from their Jace now. Jace doesn't affect the board in any way, though. It just allows them to draw more cards. Alright, there's the concession. They could have survived 1 more turn chump blocking with Enforcer Griffin, but then they're down to 1 life, and there's basically nothing that would save them there, so... Did get there in the end, definitely got luckier than our opponent at the end. Game did just end in a top deck war. Not the most interesting way to end that game. But our deck showed off some cool stuff regardless. And their deck as well, Ravages of War against the multicolored spells, was pretty nice. I was just a little sad about it earlier in the game. I was like, oh my god, there goes Storev and Cura. I was having fun over here. We go first. Double Paradise Druid means we have double black, even if we don't draw Swamp all game like we are prone to do. Definite keeper, Paradise Druid into Toll of the Invasion. And then we get to proliferate onto our zombie army, or just put a +1/+1 counter on something else. Turn 2 Paradise Druid is out. Toll of the Invasion coming on out next turn. See what's going on in our opponent's deck. Mono white thus far. Starting with a Martyr for the Cause. A little 2/2 that proliferates when it dies. So they're on white-red, not revealing the red mana to us yet. They have a Turd Ogre and Wanderer's Strike in hand. So your hand's not that great. I think I just get rid of Wanderer's Strike over the Turd Ogre, because I get rid of Wanderer's Strike, and then they can't get rid of my 4/5 Ceratok, and my 4/5 is superior to their 4/3, so my 4/5 kind of just controls this board. So we definitely know both of us kept kind of equally weak hands here. I think I definitely drew a little bit better thanks to Toll of the Invasion. Kaya. It's hard not to be a little irritated. I'm not gonna lie. The mana luck today has been so off. Draw our only triple black card in the game where we've drawn no swamps. Oh my god, we drew Death Sprout as well. Our mana base is not bad. We have 8 swamps. Alright. I'm gonna chill. We're gonna play another Paradise Druid so that we can Death Sprout. They only have 2 cards in hand. We're doing very well in terms of the card advantage of this game, so there's nothing to freak out about yet. We can get there. Death Sprout will grab us the 3rd black for Kaya, and then we can just start trying to go off out of that. Ceratok, I probably should have put a counter on Ceratok and then attacked, so that actually would have been a good attack. If I put a counter on Ceratok, it's a 5/6, so it attacks in trades with both of... with a 3 toughness creature and a 2 toughness creature. I get to kill 2 things out of it, so it's probably worth it generally. Since I didn't, we're just going to hold off for Death Sprout here. Death Sprout during their end step, and then cast Kaya next turn. And then we'll just proliferate, because we get to proliferate onto a Planeswalker and a creature. Law Rune Enforcer. I honestly think I need to kill that over anything else, because that can just keep tapping my best creature every turn. Okay, well, there's the swamp. Now that we no longer need it. Play Kaya here, get rid of a Turd Ogre.
Glad to be
Get rid of another creature next turn.
Don't gaze too long into the abyss.
Palmbright Druid. Proliferating onto both of these. Hold off on attacks. We force them into a bad attack if they try to deal with Kaya here. The Wanderer, not if they draw the Wanderer. Now they have a pretty decent attack.
Time to meet your breaker.
If they attack Kaya with all 3. Yeah, that was a pretty incredible draw for them. Just the exact right timing on that. Battalion even gets a counter there. They proliferate if Martyr dies, which means they get a counter on Battalion and the Wanderer. I have no way to block this. Actually, if I block here and here, then Kaya's still around to kill one more creature. But I could just kill one creature by this block anyway. Just kill their thing that can get bigger and let Kaya die, I guess.
I'll be back. Just you wait.
Massacre Girl. Probably not worth it right now. I kill everything. Maybe it is. I don't actually need this mana. We just get rid of the Wanderer and then play Massacre Girl, wipe their board, and have a 4/4 left over. I'd love to be able to play Kron Strangler first to get a creature with a counter on it, but it's not gonna work out. Kron Strangler will just also die if I play Kron Strangler. Alright, we got a 4/4 menace, they got 2 cards. See if we can't turn this back around after things got a bit scary for us, a bit sketchy. Alright, we drew a Death Sprout. Fantastic draw here. Bloom Hulk is the draw. You get to get real aggressive with the two of these, but I'm just gonna hold up Death Sprout mana, I think. Oh, looks like they're just drawing all lands anyway. Well, now I have 2 Bloom Hulk. We'll just play one, I guess. If I just played this last turn, we just have lethal right now, so I guess I should have just played it first. Just really scared about some kind of magical creature that needs to be Death Sprouted immediately. Johnny's Pridemate is not that. So I believe we just get there. They gain life, but they still take 8, so yeah, we just get there. Alright, another win for the Golgari bomb-heavy deck. The mana looking so embarrassing. I did mention several times during the draft that we do have some difficult mana costs, so it is very good to have Paradise Druid for those kinds of situations. Not just for ramping up, but also for mana fixing when we do draw double blacks and triple blacks and stuff. So, I was aware of this issue, I just was not aware that it would come into play so much. Alright, 5 wins now. So we're doing great. I always try to hit at least 4 wins, because at 4 wins you get all of the gems you paid in back, basically. If you've completed the set. How could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes. Oh my god! It's okay. We drafted mono green and Theros and we had an excellent time. We can just play mono green again. Okay. We got the black mana. It's all good. We're definitely playing Paradise Druid first so we can ramp into stuff like Ceratok earlier. We're not going to play a 4-power creature next turn, so we don't need a Wrangler on this board. We don't need a Wrangler out until we can cast Power 4 or greater cards. Next turn we get to cast a Ceratok, which will be great. We get a 3-2 trample and a 4-5 trample. Mowu's pretty scary. If they have anything to put +1/+1 counters on it, that will get real scary real fast. Otherwise, it is a 3-3 Vigilance Trample, which is also just great stats for the mana cost. That being said, hopefully we can just outsize it. Just play a 4-5 and then next turn a 7-6, next turn another 7-6. Just go big or go home. New Horizons does put a counter on the Mowu. Our plan's definitely to Kaya that thing, but we need another black mana to do it. They have 2 mana at instant speed and white. They can have, actually they have 3 mana. They can have Battlefield Promotion, puts a counter on it, gives it first strike. That would be incredibly brutal for us, so I don't think we can afford to make that block, especially when we're only 1 black mana away from just killing Mowu. Yeah, no, I'm probably just killing Mowu. If I kill Mowu, I have a 3-2 and a 4-5 to block with. That can't be blocked by creatures, so I just block there, block there. Yeah, we're safe. Kaya's safe. And even if she dies somehow, she killed the Mowu, which was an important task to accomplish. So Battlefield Promotion would not really do it here. So maybe they had a different card I wasn't even thinking of. Oh, it is Battlefield Promotion. All right, very glad I didn't block last turn. Yeah, Battlefield Promotion's super fine here. They kill one of our creatures at no cost, but we kill one of theirs at no cost. Never mind. Gideon's Triumph will wipe our board, but we do have more creatures, and we get to exile one of theirs. So yeah, we're still doing swell. They have no cards left in hand, and we've got multiple 7/6s coming on out. So unless they draw quite well, 7/6s should be pretty fantastic. They got the flavor combo, Zhang Yangu and Mowu. So they got Zhang and his dog, which is very cute. If they put 2 more counters onto the battalion, battalion does trade for worm, so I guess I should kill that.
We'll seek a new path.
Alright, there's the concession. The big old primordial worms are too much. Giant worm friends are best friends. Crawworm, move over. You've been outclassed. Well, here we are at the final countdown, the final match. No matter what, we're leaving with 1,800 gems and 5 packs, a fantastic place to be. But if we win one more game, we will have the 7-win run. We'll trophy, get 2,200 gems and 6 packs. Obviously, no matter what happens, I am happy here, as we made more than 4 wins now. But heading into this final boss, let's see if we can't get a great start to the War of the Spark drafts. I think we had a pretty good draft overall. Definitely ended up with a nice bomby deck. And this is a pretty nice hand to start off with. Very interactive, which is what I like to see. Toll of the Invasion to stop one of their scary cards, and a Death Sprout to stop another. See if this hand doesn't pan out for us. Definitely the Paradise Druid turn 2. Probably not attacking with it. Blue-red is a scary color combination to see. That was the worst matchup we had was against a blue-red deck, for sure. Their Narset fails to find. That is very good for us. Toll of the Invasion. They have No Escape, Tamio's Epiphany, Invading Manticore, and Totally Lost. If we know about No Escape, we can know when they're holding it up. I think we get rid of... If we get rid of Tamio's Epiphany, they just hold it up next turn, regardless. But Tamio's Epiphany is also really good here, because otherwise they're not playing anything until like 6. They play this 4 or 5. Get a 2/2 out of it. We can just kill that with a Death Sprout, so we're not super scared about that. Totally Lost will slow us down, but not that badly. Honestly, I think Tamio's Epiphany is just the worst time for us. Maybe even the No Escape. I guess I'm getting rid of No Escape, because if we get... The problem is if we get rid of Tamio's Epiphany, next turn they have no plays, so we know they're just holding up No Escape, so I just can't play a creature next turn, and I really want to play like a Bloomhulk. So we just let them Tamio's Epiphany. We know they're going to tap out and not add anything to the board. Then we attack Narset for 1, attack them for 2, play a Bloomhulk, make things bigger. We could even just attack Narset for 1 and just cast a 4/5. Uh-oh, 3 to the top. Their scariest cards are unfortunately apparently ones that we have not seen yet. So if I play Kiora, I have 3 mana afterwards, so I can play Kiora and Evolution Sage. And kill the Narset. I think we do that, then next turn we start Bloomhulking, trying to go off with Kiora.
I must train harder.
Bet you've never been hugged by a kraken before. Nature flows with vigor.
Bet you've never been hugged by a kraken before? What? Okay, Kiora. Just hanging out with the fish friends, I guess. Relentless Advance. Alright, they just get a 3/3 there. Bloomhulk seems good. So does Ceratok. Probably just play Ceratok because it's more expensive and I can only play 1 card anyway. Bloomhulk would turn the army into a 3/3, and then we do attack in this turn though, which is good. No more lands for the Evolution Sage. I think I'll just play a Crunch Wrangler here. Actually,
1 drop.
for next turn. If they don't have a Wrath effect, our board is just quickly getting too big to deal with thanks to Kiora and Paradise Druid just wombo comboing it up, giving us 2 extra mana a turn. They did make their army a 5/5, which is a little scary, but we're still doing great. Definitely Bloom Hulk first. It adds more counters to Wrangler. Draws us a card, and then proliferates, and then we proliferate with this land. Just going off here for our final game. Hopefully it's enough. We can even kill their 5/5 here with Death Sprouts, but does that push into any good attacks? Kill the 5/5, we attack with the Wrangler and just trade. Doesn't seem that great to us. We probably kill something in their end step. And then next turn play a forest, and then we get attacking with all of the stuff we proliferated onto. They do have a Totally Lost in their hand, so they get to kill our zombie. Augur of Bolas coming out, draws a instant or sorcery from their top 3. You don't get to dig very far with Augur of Bolas, so it is entirely possible they'll miss off of this as well. No, they drew Commence the Endgame. Can't be countered, and you draw 2, amass X, where X is the number of cards in hand. So they make that zombie army absolutely massive. So the plan is probably to Death Sprout their zombie army after they do that. That being said, I can still do it in the end step, get 1 land out of my deck, make it more likely to draw something else. If I proliferate, Wrangler will be a 6/5, which is big enough to attack into Manticore, but not the zombie army. Amassing another zombie army is only going to make about a 3/3 or a 4/4, which I can attack in with all of this into. Yeah, we're still going to Death Sprout the army here, I think. Oh yeah, and it gives us a land, so we proliferate right there and here. So Wrangler really gets in. They can't even kill it because they have 5 toughness to block it with. Kiora's been proliferated onto so much, she has 9 counters, so we may as well untap Crunch Wrangler. Just bonus untap, I guess. They're down to 13.
To make a splash.
We can definitely go wide for lethal pretty soon as well. They only have 3 blockers after they commence the endgame. So they block here, 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 take 5 at least. Primordial Worm's a great draw. We draw a card off of that, get a counter on Wrangler. Kiora really going off today. Oh my god, Kaya's fantastic as well. 8 toughness here means we kill the zombie army and the Manticore if they block. Just really wipe the board. What an insane final game to end this draft. I think the only way this game could be more insane is if our opponent somehow plays something really bomby and finds a win here. But I'm pretty sure we've just overwhelmed at this point. Yeah, a bunch of little dorky creatures. We just get to play Kaya, exile their largest blocker, and just attack all at this point. They have a 1/3, a 2/2, and a 1/1 after that. That should pretty much be lethal. Attack with everything but Paradise Druid, probably. Or just cast another worm. Oh, they're just gonna scoop them up. That's 100% fair at that point. That was a ridiculous showing from our Golgari deck to end the draft. Oh boy. Well, that will end the first War of the Spark Premier Draft on my channel. As always, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end of the video. If you want to see more of this content, all you got to do is stick around, subscribe, and like, comment, all of that stuff will help YouTube recommend the video to you more often, as well as to others. So, thank you all very much for watching, and I will be back again very soon for some more Magic Arena.